On this episode of Richard is a Sucker for Kitchen Gadgets, we're going to modify this FoodSaver FM2000 in order to accept poly tubing instead of the proprietary accessory vacuum hose. The problem arose when this piece snapped off. So this is cut from here. That was my doing, that's not the problem. But this accessory hose, in case you're unfamiliar, allows you to connect items like this is a jar sealer. So that goes to the accessory, and then this guy would plug in here. Now I've already cleared off the port, but you can see that the plastic here is sheared. I estimate this is polypropylene based on how waxy it feels, and it just became brittle over a year. So we're going to open this up, pull the valve, and take a look at if we can make this work. So the first step is to remove this seal. So we need to get into this panel. There are 8 screws that I've already removed. You do not need to remove this presser bar. That can just sit plenty fine. And then this plastic shield should just kind of finesse off. So now from here, we have the actual check valve. All these screws have been Phillips ones. Make sure you have the correct size screwdriver. So this O-ring can sit here, and this allows you to see how this check valve works, if we can focus. So this is a little spring seal, and what used to happen is that this would protrude out to about here, maybe 1/4 of an inch. And so when you pushed it in, it would pull back this ever so slightly so air could get around it. Now, with this broken, that obviously doesn't work. You are able to buy aftermarket guys of this side, but I have had a very hard time finding the green side. And because this doesn't have any sort of little protrusion coming out to like here to push down the ball interface, it just kind of, it doesn't work. So I tried to dream up some clever solution, and then I opted for the simple one. We're just going to remove this entirely. I'm going to use this, so I'm going to set that aside. In order to not lose the spring, I'm going to hide it in here. And actually, I'm going to apply some masking tape to remove the rattle noise, just in case anybody has the inkling of shaking a vacuum sealer. So now, this will always have the accessory port active because it is no longer blocked. I need to reapply these screws. So the idea is that when the green part broke, I just did a nice clean cut here, and by jamming it in this port, it can still produce a good seal. So we remove the check valve, we have a good seal, and we can still operate the accessory port. I kept this guy out because we can place it in this hole so that you can still operate it using the vacuum bags if you're not using the accessory port. It's not perfect. There's a high probability that I'm going to lose this, but compared to buying a new one or trying to find a replacement hose, I'm perfectly fine with it. So we're going to button it up and then we'll test it. All right, so we've repaired the unit. I use the term repaired loosely here. So let's demonstrate the restored functionality. I've got an unsealed jar here. So here's the adapter for sealing jars. The accessory side plugs in here. No change at all. Actually, there. And now we'll just kind of massage that in. And we'll give this a shot. Alright, so it stopped vacuuming on its own, which means this has a good seal, and this is vacuum tight. I'm not going to open it because I actually want it closed, but that worked. So, what we've destroyed is the ability to vacuum bags, but that's why I kept this little guy around. So since it's kind of a rubbery material, you can press it in. Maybe if you're good with a knife, you might be able to round it in and really give a nice interface for that. But here's a bag that I sealed earlier. We'll demonstrate that it still works by vacuum sealing something. I don't have anything to vacuum seal. TV's dead. So, I jammed this in enough where I can open and close this without it popping out. And let's give it a shot. Alright, this is looking pretty good. I think that quote-unquote repair is satisfactory. We've restored the functionality of the accessory port by removing this guy, and we can still vacuum seal plastic bags if we keep it plugged.